What's your...
Welcome to the acclaimed podcast, The Deep Dive, featuring your esteemed hosts, Andy Monitor and Drew Dinzik, powered by BetSperts.
Welcome to The Deep Dive. We are here a day early, and for good reason, because it's the fucking Masters, and we are joined by none other than Link Calhoun. A tradition like many others.
Straight up Forrest Gump on the shrimp boat wave.
Oh,
hey guys.
wave. That's the play.
So, presumably they're going to play some golf this week. Presumably it's at a pretty important place. And
real quick, I want to say happy birthday to Andy. Happy birthday, big guy. Have a day.
It's been
a pretty good day
so far.
You did it.
I know. I did fuck up a little on the home front. Like I didn't tell my, because anyone who's listening to this or who is a normal listener or maybe doesn't know, we do these on Wednesdays. But if we do this on Wednesday night, we can't, it doesn't give it a lot of time to breathe before the tournament starts.
No.
So we moved it to Tuesday. Did not tell my wife that. So she had planned on taking me out tonight. And I'm like, oh no, honey, I got a podcast tomorrow night. I got to hang out with Cal. She's like, oh.
Yeah, this move.
So I ended up, I'm like, you can take me. This was last night. I said, you can take me out tonight though. So I ended up going out and get some barbecue.
Yes.
Bought a new baseball glove. No big deal. Gotta break that bad boy in.
Happy birthday indeed. New baseball glove? Woo!
I can't find mine. I've been looking for a week, and my daughter wants to play catch because softball season is nigh. But thank you, Cal. Thank you, everyone.
Well,
wish me a happy birthday. I know I got some DMs today, and it is a hell of a week to have a birthday. We had the national championship, a couple of them. We got the Frozen Four this weekend. I'm heading to Chicago for a Bleacher Nation event. Go check out some of my coworkers I've never met, and and there's golf.
Well, so the good news is college basketball is in the rearview mirror. Congratulations, Huskies. It is Masters week. But the bad news is it's not looking great weather-wise, which is definitely a vibe killer. I like to have Thursday and Friday just to completely melt into the world of golf. And while it looks like Thursday, we are probably going to get a full round in for most everybody. Friday and Saturday.
Friday looks like treacherous.
It looks treacherous.
Well,
inch of rain, 20-mile-an-hour winds. And now when you hear when you hear that kind of weather, if you're handicapping, Cal, and you're putting your card together, obviously it's silly to even, kind of sell people on some of the prices you got on some of the best guys, because I'm sure they are long gone, because this is like if you play into the futures pool for the Masters all year long. In fact, I bet you made a bet in 2022 for this year's Masters. I think I win. But when you're sitting down to start your process for the week, you're gonna you're put your lineups together. You're gonna just dominate the DFS space with your golf prowess. You hear when you hear the weather, when you hear that the weather is like this, is that the first
bummer?
Yeah, okay.
It just, because it's just another wrench thrown in your plan. Like, god damn, now I get the wave advantages. It's the biggest, because everyone gets sharp real quick. They know the right wave. They know exactly who to play, and that player pool just shrinks. So
okay.
Oh, and if you
on that,
sometimes guessing on wave advantage or even day one wave advantage for like showdown, it's like, oh, the rain showed up 2 hours early, and then there's just no golf, and basically the stance you took in DFS, which you're not allowed to go change that after lock or whatever, and the stance you took is just shots like, oh. All the guys that I thought were going to be playing in, 20-mile-an-hour winds got bumped to tomorrow morning, where it's gorgeous. They're just like, like bunnies and birds, and it's like a Disney movie looking like, instead of playing a goddamn hurricane. It sucks. It sucks to guess at that and have Mother Nature throw you. But
actually, it's been people who think they're on the right side. There is no right side with the rain, because there's a delay, and then the group that was getting the worst of it gets the butterflies and the snow white stuff. that Snow White?
The Snow White stuff.
The dwarfs walking around Augusta. Yeah. So
the cats.
We got that to deal with.
Well, yeah, but everyone's going to deal with it. It's not going to be a wave thing. Everyone's going to have to eat this weather. They're going to breaks. It is. So I'm calling it even.
What's your fair price? What's your fair price for them getting the jacket on somebody on Sunday?
Not going to happen. Wouldn't take.
I think we should all come up with a quick. Here's a good fun thing.
I mean, they can't finish.
We should all have to come up with a plan, because there are ways.
They're on it. They got a room of guys just throwing out ideas.
They have really good drainage. My plan would be, hey, Gramps, fuck off this weekend. We need your tee times. Like, hey, Larry Mize, come to this dinner. Come hang out. Yeah, we're using your tee times. Like, guess what, Sandy? You're sitting out this year. We cannot be waiting for you fuckers to play 36. I love.
I'm not gonna let it.
I love that part about it.
I got to see the suspenders out there.
If you win, you can play forever, which is fine. But just like, guys,
that's pretty.
You're just eating up valuable time that we could have. Hey, like Abe Answer's sitting here. He needs to tee off there.
Okay.
Someone clocked him like making a walk. I'd like to see the times on that.
Okay, so that's the first wrinkle. There's a second wrinkle though, which is we're starting to see an impact of LIV Golf in that there's a huge disparity in terms of the quality and quantity that everybody in this field has played in the last run-up months. All right, the reaction from PGA Tour. Yeah, the quality of the courses, the quality of the competition,
from what I've
read, is just a mess. It's a non-fact. Yeah, it's not. That's not.
There's a lot of good places around there. I'm pretty positive.
Yeah, you don't want to tee up. You don't want to tune up at the rec course. You want to tune up at some of the greatest courses in the world, and that's literally You want to tee up. You want to tune up at Bay Hill. You want to tune up at Riviera. You don't want to tune up at the Orlando, Country Club or whatever the fuck it was. And so so this could probably cut multiple ways, but at least for this year's Master, this feels like a problem for the LIV guys. Like, you just haven't had enough reps of high quality golf to come in and really be mentally prepared for this course. Am I making too much of that, or is that a realistic thesis?
I agree. I think I 100% agree. I think also just being the LIV guys and having that like cloud over them, it can't help. I don't see any of those guys who get an edge off that. Maybe Reed might feed off that. But everyone else they're going to be on their best behavior. There's not going to be any acting up. They're going to be playing ball.
Yeah, it is a bit of there's that, you have that air about you. That's going to be a little weird. And it is one of those things where like short term, like people in Florida, I saw tweeting about this course. It's like, I played this course just like as hey, I'm a guy who plays golf. He's like, and this is like a shitty course that I would never go back to.
Right, my car got stolen there.
One of their bigger events. So, but part of me does believe that, golf is golf is golf. And some of these guys, it's not like DJ hasn't played Augusta a bunch of times. It's not like some of these, even Reed, he's been playing it for years and years. Sergio, it's not like I'm worried about Sergio or Bubba winning this thing, but some of these guys, I don't think you can ding them too hard. And the guys who did play some DP, too, he's like, and then the guys who played DP stuff, they played some decently tough courses over there, especially maybe not the toughest courses in the desert, but they played some tough fields. Like, there are a bunch of good golfers that play in those Saudi Arabia and Dubai events. So I don't want to hold it too far against them, but it certainly doesn't help. Like, I would take the Valero as a tune-up or whatever, even just Austin, playing in match play over playing down in, Orange,
that was awesome.
Orange County, whatever it is. And just real quick to the weather too, we didn't get to this. Your first thought is, fuck it, whatever, Monday finish. I'm fine with that. More golf, more Masters.
Yeah, you got to plan your weekend more correctly, though.
But next week is an elevated event too.
It is, yeah, it's true.
So it kind of you don't want to screw with a really nice event at RBC.
Okay. Let me throw out two other potential theses, and you guys tell me if this holds any water or if it's nonsense, because I haven't heard this talked about as much. But there's two sides to the coin of how hard you've been playing golf this year. For some guys, you're like ultimate fit. You're really, your confidence is sky high. The Scottie Schefflers of the we'll just say the Scotties of the world. For other guys, you're like John Rahm, and you're like, I'm kind of beat. I'm not feeling my greatest, and now I'm supposed to go out there and do this career accomplishment. Like, I think there are probably a little bit of the elevated events could backfire on the PGA Tour guys, just because they've been grinding hard, going back to Phoenix, right? Or going back to Torrey Pines, right? Like it's been now 2 months of. Yes, a lot of hard golf and a lot of travel.
Oh, that match play
not a lot of weeks off.
Like mentally draining.
Okay, are we going to come out of this and say there's a fatigue factor for the way that they scheduled the run up to the Masters on the PGA Tour?
I'm not. I don't like it. I think it is having an effect. I'm worried about the other events too. They're suffering. They're going to lose their sponsors, and then you're going to run out of fun places to play. Like Kirk turned down an elevated event. Guarantee. I mean, he's going to make the money.
Worked out.
Cut. and then he goes over to, where'd he go, Andy? I forgot. Was that the Honda?
Was that? No, where
did
I think
Kirk go?
Oh gosh, whatever the elevated event was.
He skipped.
He skipped that
like Bay Hill and did Puerto Rico or something.
Right,
or whatever,
and won like a nice prize. Yeah. Like probably got paid off $3 million. Is that too? Yeah. I mean,
it pays better. So it pays better than missing the cut at the good event.
It does, and that's solid. That's so solid.
And like, it gets you into a lot of other events too. Yeah.
But now he's at the Masters.
Punch you.
It was the Honda, and the Honda is one that did lose its sponsorship. That's not going to be the Honda Classic anymore. It was a weird spot that it ended up as a bye week essentially, and that's what we saw from Valero.
Yep.
And Valero will always be different if they hold it in the same spot every year, because it's like, hey, I'm a mid-range guy, or I'm just outside the top 50. I didn't get in. I'm playing in the Valero because there's a chip chair and a chance to get a really cool invite. You're never going to have a great field there, but it's not going to be like alt event like the Honda essentially got turned into. But that is the backfiring that you're going to get from these elevated
and
events.
The betting market too. It's like two like pretty good guys. Like last week it was Connors and Hatton, and then a bunch. You think you could go long? You can. It was the top chalk again, even at one of these low events, and that's how. I've only hit a few outrights this year, and one of them was, I think, non-elevated. Yeah. The other one was Scottie. I had Taylor Moore at 66. I'm not catching 66 at any event coming up in the near future with the way the chalk's hitting. It's tough. Is that my internet?
Ooh.
Am I out?
No, it's
Is that me on the internet?
Really? No, I think it's Cal.
Oh, really? Oh, I'm sure it was me.
Slow down a little bit.
Well, while Cal squares away over there, feel free to drop all the questions you have for our esteemed guest into the chat. We'll get to them at the end. Quarterback hand size, Houston Astros baseball, riverboat gambling, anything you want to ask him about, we'll get to it before we end the show. But we'll give Masters a little more shine, including the other potential like kind of macro thesis I wanted to ask you guys about. If the PGA Tour has burned some guys out, guys are carrying more injuries than it feels like. There's some important golfers that are coming in with some pretty bad injuries, right? And then the LIV, on the other hand, like those guys are they're pretty lightly traveled, right? Like, I'm assuming that some of these guys elected to, defect for LIV based on the more relaxed schedule. Don't have to play as many events a year. That way I can kind of focus on the majors. Andy, this is a major. Like, is there a chance that rather than this being ultimately a schedule that impacts the LIV guys negatively, that these guys are fresher and they're more focused, and frankly, like, you had a bunch of guys that were marginally competing anyway. If they can kind of fine tune their games for a handful of tournaments a year that really mean the most to them, is this going to backfire in a way that we come out of this with a feeling of, ooh, this is an unintended consequence of the schedule change?
Yeah, I just think so many of the LIV guys suck enough. It's like it's not gonna matter. Like, I mean, compared when you're playing in a field that has the big three, it has Homa, Cantley, Xander, Tony. I mean, even now, there's a Morikawa. You got Zalatoris, Hovland. Like everyone is here. It's like, hey, great, you're Mito Pereira, and I guess I shouldn't shit on someone who almost won a big tournament.
Yeah,
but
it was a close call.
It was a close call, but it's like, unless you're playing the best competition in the world, are you able to keep up that ascension to where you should have been? So it'll be interesting to see. I think maybe the most interesting thing about just Augusta's stance on this is the fact that, hey, like, they're just not gonna be told what to do by Jay Monahan. Like, yeah, sure. Hey, guess what? If you've won this event in the past, or you qualified by the criteria we've been using for years, you're playing. Like, you're going to play golf here at Augusta. We're going to have the field that we deserve to have. And it's going to be curious to see how the other majors, the people who handle those majors take care of things with that. But yeah, I think that there's just so many LIV guys that are non-factors that maybe it's not a super big storyline.
Well, let me challenge that. Okay, so a lot of the guys on the LIV tour suck. I acknowledge that. A lot of the guys left the PGA Tour because they weren't realistically competing anymore, and there's a lot bigger payday. There's a lot bigger payday over there than there is consistently getting 40th place week in, week out, obviously. Yeah. However, there's a lot of guys in the LIV class who historically play extremely well here. Specifically well here, even on years where they're having poor years, where their confidence isn't high. Because, I mean, I don't think this is a secret to anyone. And if you feel like you've just hit some sort of gold mine, let me be perfectly honest with you. Everyone who's been in golf knows this. Masters is sort of the quintessential course where course history matters. And it's an enormously valuable signal. If you've played well here in the past, the realistic expectation you're going to play well here in this tournament. Because, once you unlock some of the secrets of Augusta, they're yours forever. And I guess, do you think that, that this is sort of one of the macro, I'll ask Link specifically, is this one of the macro angles that is impossible to price in correctly just because it is so strong of a signal? Or do you think it's going to, be kind of more baked in and overplayed at this point? And then specifically the guys that have strong course history records that are coming from the LIV Tour, like, you got them all circled?
I'm not even sure he can hear us.
Yeah, I can hear you. I thought you were talking to Andy on that.
No, we're I mean, he started it probably before you got back. That was a really long question, but basically, like,
as I am prone to do.
Here,
yes,
too long didn't read. Course history matters here. You have some guys who have played well here. I mean, maybe they're not the best golfer in the world anymore, but they've played well here. Obviously, there's 5 people on the LIV Tour that have won this. I'm not really so worried about Lefty winning this ever, but I mean, we would have said that a couple of years ago when he won a major too. That was quite surprising, and he looks gaunt. That guy's like 150 pounds right now. Who knows where he's at? But course history, does it overcome going to the LIV Tour? Guys like Reed, DJ, I mean, even to the point of Cam Smith's small sample size here, where it's like, fuck, he was
Joaquin Neiman, same thing.
Who's really short in the market that doesn't have the course history? Would it be Young?
Rory?
Cam Young, absolutely. Yeah. His course history is horrifically poor. Rory's course history is excellent outside of not winning.
It's a lot of non-competitive Sunday rounds where it's like, hey, good job, you weren't in it, but you got top 4.
Let's save a Rory discussion for entirely later. I guess the question is there a betting angle where the LIV guys are coming in under the radar? They're fresher. A bunch of these guys have sick course history, and you can catch some matchup advantages. Am I crazy?
I almost bet Patrick Reed. I was 75-1. The guy won it like 6 years ago, man. And he's such a little bee. And again, you saw him. We mentioned the DP Tour. He almost outdueled Rory in the desert earlier in the season. Like, Reed has that where he can you haven't seen it that much You haven't obviously seen it on LIV. I do wonder if you can take LIV results and actually, actually make anything out of them. Because once you found out like these guys don't actually get the paychecks when they win the event, it just comes off the tab. Like basically they were paid this exorbitant amount of money to start. And then if you win the event, it's just like, hey, we pretended to write you a check, but dude, we just gave you $200 million. You think we're going to write you another check?
You're good. Yeah.
So the motivation for some of these guys, I mean, like Patrick Reed, he's won 10 times on tour. He has a major. Like, he got his money. Does he give a shit when he's playing these LIV events? You see some pretty funny scores sometimes. Like DJ, it seems like, has a little bit of pride. He's near the, at least near the top of the leaderboard for the most part. You did see, Brooks kind of put it together, but I think a lot of that was more of, do I give a shit about winning this tournament, or I really have to play well this week so I'm ready for next week? Like, probably winning the tournament is a lot more secondary to that. So a lot of these results you see in the LIV, I'm not even really sure we should be using them.
I haven't watched any LIV. It's crazy.
I miss it being on YouTube.
Do not care.
It's easier
at all. I mean, I'll throw a couple.
Do you even know what channel the CW is on your television? Because I do not. And are they showing it on tape delay?
I just don't really care to see that product. Not the kind of golf I want to watch. I'd rather watch some shitty non-elevated event.
Yeah. So I guess any of this create a betting angle on the LIV guys. Because I got guys like Brooks. Brooks has been bet this week, by the way. He's going to close in the 35 to 1 range, which is pretty amazing.
That's so crazy. That is so. That's not going to happen. That's a really bad number. I would say, Neiman, someone like that, and maybe going to a brick and mortar and getting a couple tickets. And if he's round 1 leader, get it on prop swap ASAP and make some money that way. I don't really deal with the matchups, but I do have DJ, by the way. He's on the card at 74 on the card. 1. 74 to 1. Yeah, so there's a website. Yeah. I'm not going to name it. They're fucking pissing me off, but they have something called a money grab. And it's pretty much a money bag. You put in your 100 and it spins around and whatever name it is. I know I'm not going to pull a Scottie or something fun like that. I put $100 in there, see what happens. Boom, Dustin Johnson. Take it. Not going to spin that thing again. So I spun it again. Profiled. Yeah, it got Bryson DeChambeau too. So I got 2 LIV.
I was going to say I did the same thing. I spun it and I ended up with an old. I don't remember if it was Larry. No. I don't remember if it was Mize or one of the other guys. So I ended up spinning again. I have a JT ticket, 74 to 1. So not liking his form. Some of the putting has been rough.
That's a big number.
He can win it. So yeah.
DJ currently in the 25 to 1 range and the 7th choice at bookmaker right now. So you got yourself a nice little ticket there at 72 to 1 or whatever. Okay, so
that's I don't know where that's coming from. I guess it's the course history and just he's had good form. I guess at LIV. I watch him. I don't think he's had worse than T10 over there. I mean, I'll check out DJ his stuff. Yeah, DJ would be I think I like DJ over Cam Smith too.
Can you?
Am I breaking up bad?
No, it's me.
Yeah, it's basically everyone but me. You also got to find.
I see everything looks good on my end.
It's that map, honestly.
So, Andy, can you kind of do a quick sales pitch for Bet Sports Golf in the context of why course history matters at Augusta? Is there a reason?
Almost like you said, when you said you unlock things, there is something to that, having having all the practice rounds there. Once God, what did Rory must really want to finish things off because he played 81 holes down there already or something this week. There is something to figuring out the course and, just figuring, because it can be a little tactical, where
it is. Yeah.
You're not going to get
little crannies that,
yeah, not not getting in like huge trouble. Getting in huge trouble is hard unless you find
unless you're Bryson.
Yeah, like go right into the bushes right off the bat when it's playing as a par 67. But just having that history, having your caddy, all the notes, playing it, and figuring out like the tactical parts of the approach zones, how the
little less butterflies in your stomach. Sure.
It doesn't get big overhauls. Like once you have a good notes on those greens books, or you've just played it enough, your caddy's taken enough notes, you have a good feel of where you want to be playing, all the various pin positions. Like it just really, it doesn't change all that much. Obviously they length it out.
Something that would change it would be the weather. So I would almost recommend going a little longer down the board because of the weather. I think you might have a little bit, might have a liver dog down there.
Too many guys at the top with the course history factor where it may not play the same because
so it almost feels like it's all Scotties.
So the general vibe that I get I'm trying to understand this course. And again, like in my life, and I would guess something like 95% of golf fans, doesn't have to be like the super hardos, but just guys who guys and gals who like to watch golf. I feel like we probably all watched the most golf at the Masters. If there was one course
100%.
that you've watched the most golf at, it's Augusta. And it's because it's the only major where they have it at the same location every year. And you're right, Andy said it. Like they changed some things to keep it spicy, but otherwise, like you could probably draw within 4 inches where the hole's going to be on Sunday on 16. Like you guys know where it's going to be. Like it's always there on Sunday at 16, and like those kind of things, and and just in general, like and it's just in general, like okay, your tee shot, is a good tee shot if it's just a little bit to the right on that fairway versus it's a little bit to the left. And like, those small things where you set yourself up for the ideal approach shot, really help distinguish you, particularly on the par fives, I think. And so, it's definitely one where course history and just knowledge of the course and course management tend to really spotlight and really shine. And that makes it, I think, especially fun to watch every hole and particularly watch specific groups. Like if you can watch that group play every hole there and like kind of understand how the the ups and downs and
the Masters.
Yeah, it's unbelievably
beautiful. Fun. The app, everything is just crisp.
Yeah. So
it's the 1 week a year where we can't complain about coverage. Every week somebody's like, "Oh, golf's on. I can't watch it though." Or like, "Oh, golf ran into like the 6 p.m. time slot. Now it's not on TV anymore. We're not going to see the, you're not doing that on Sunday, but like you'll have that on Saturday where it's like, whatever was covering golf has a basketball game at 6. So like we're not going to see like the last 3 groups on the course. It just, the coverage does not exist. It's like that Oklahoma State basket that was the bad beat where just nobody got to actually see the basket. That's what happens with golf. It's like, we're not even sure if these guys actually played these holes, guys. So it's great. That's the best part. Honestly, like out of anything, to me, the best part about the Masters, you can watch so much. You can get like 6 TVs set up, man. Get all those streams going. Fuck, man.
Okay, so let's let me ask Calvin.
Did you guys see the pairings at all?
A little bit, and we'll get into that in a second. I want to ask you about it, but so let me just make sure I understand your point because I think it was probably a good one. The board itself reflects course history perfectly. Don't think you have an angle. If you're just hearing this now, you don't have an angle to bet that because it's been baked in correctly, right? However, it may be overcooked this year because it's not going to play as long. It's just not. And they keep making it longer and longer and longer. One of the longest courses on the tour, right? And when you say it's not going to play as long, we're saying is Friday and Saturday we're expecting inches of rain, inches. And while that's not going to impact the speed of the greens because of the drainage and the airflow and all blah blah blah, it's going to impact how far the ball rolls when it hits that the fairway if you're hitting the fairway. And so presumably. You're going to have, plenty of mud balls out there. You're not going to get the roll off your drive. So it's almost like if you can fly it far off the drive, you're in a little bit better shape than, right. And so you can kind of say, well, maybe like find guys in the intermediate to deeper range who have good, long off the tee in terms of flight.
and maybe they're guys who smashed it. Cam Young comes to mind.
Yeah,
is one of those guys who, God, when he hits it, it's so pure. Well, I could watch him swing it for sure. That guy is a clubber. He fucking moves it.
Yeah, Nick in the chat.
Would be another guy down the board that kind of fits that bill.
Yeah.
Big club speed, big ball speed, lots of carry because you're not going to have that rollout. So the course will play. There's going to be holes that play longer than usual. It's like, well, this was supposed to be a 175 yard shot into the green. Now
your green book's kind of a mess.
Yeah, it does turn into a bit of a mess. It's still, and I know we run into this when we say like mitigating factors like this invite chaos. I still don't think there's a good case to take anyone way down. Like I still can't Maybe go down and take like.
It depends on your card, I guess.
Yeah, it really does, but it's not like, oh man, I'm gonna.
Okay, well let me test you on that.
Ryan
then.
Fox at 200 to 1.
So
if it's gonna be weathery.
If this were 80 and sunny for all 4 days, and I told you that before the start of the tournament, how many people realistically could win?
The same amount. It would not change. I don't think the board would change. I think it was put out, and it pretty much did not move a lot. I saw Zal move backwards.
Okay.
Not a lot of movement.
The biggest movement truly was, the biggest movement really was with Brooks based off the results and the hype around him, and then
off the win.
Obviously, Sammy Burns took a little bit of a tumble in the odds as well, just based off how he did. So
he's on the card. I got him on the card.
That you got a good number. I know you got a 60 on that. There's places that dropped it down to the 45 range.
I might have been at your 22 31. I'll look it up.
Okay.
31 at Chris. So like the biggest moves haven't been, based on anything around that. It's been how did you do last week, and some guys that are coming in playing hot, but it's still probably a case where like, hey, there's 15 guys that can win this realistically.
Yeah, but
every couple of decades you get a Danny Willett and shit happens, but for real, like the weather it's like, oh, the weather was bad, so like Rory couldn't handle it. Or let's just, I hate to pick on Rory, but let's just pick one of the top 3 guys. Like, hey, things got weird with the weather.
Really, Scottie was flipping everywhere on the.
You could tell it affected Scottie's play. Let's pick on Scottie. I can buy that. Scottie is maybe misses the cut. I mean, let's go worst case. Like, just really doesn't have it, misses the cut. That's realistic. But like, hey, the weather was bad, so like Scottie, Rahm, Rory, Cantlay, Spieth, JT, Colin, DJ, Tony, and Xander, they all couldn't play. Like there's so
the
much.
Parity's pretty thick. It really is. Your big 3 and then just a lump of all the same guys.
The cream of the crop is creamier than it's been in a long time, is what you're saying.
Yes, and the top is so top heavy. With the big 3 are the big 3, and they are the best by miles. So yeah. They got
but I mean,
go ahead.
Your point has merit though, and I think it goes back to something you were saying about the LIV guys. Is like maybe there's some cases to be made for, this person's game is better suited in conditions like this, and make a list of guys today. Make a list of those guys.
Yeah,
start looking at them in matchups. Start looking at top 20s.
Cam Young.
First round leader, things of that nature. Like there's definitely ways to attack guys that you think have an advantage here.
Yeah, the market believes Cam Young's going to have a breakout here.
What's a good comp for Augusta? Is it like the old course?
The best comps in terms of the
0 comps.
There's 0 comps. Well, I mean, of course, success at Augusta correlates well with Riv for sure.
But I also think the old course where Cam Young got T2, it's like crazy undulated. It's gonna be shitty weather. He's starting to look like you said the market's going. He's getting bet down.
Oh yeah, he's in like the 25 range now, which is not something I would have guessed considering how poor his course history is.
No, that's the weather cooking.
Yeah. The comps I've always used, it's Muirfield, Riviera, Quail Hollow, and that's kind of it.
I'll tell you what, I shouldn't make a big deal about Cam Young's course history because he has 2 rounds competed here. So it's nothing really, there's plenty of guys who go out the first time they're at Augusta and poop their pants. Like it happens.
Or have a good showing, right? I think he's going to do just fine this week.
Talked about it with Noonan a little this morning, and we just talked about this in general this week. But there's a lot of people that go about it this route, and I think there's a lot of people that go about this route every week. It's just a lot more tricky when you're dealing with 150 guys. But there's the way that PETA does it he just starts crossing guys off, like, hey, these are first-time starters. Cross them all off. Or, these are guys that have never done. These are the amateurs. Crossing these 5 names off, and he just gets down to, like we said when Drew asked the question, how many people can actually win? He tries to pare it down to that. Ron, our guy PGA Splits, does the same thing in a different way, trying to find guys that meet all these criteria that he thinks matter towards winning. And here's the guy who had the most points and all those criteria. And I don't know, do you do anything like that? Is there guys where it's just like, I love this guy, 100% crossing him off, can't even fathom him winning here? Because there's a bunch that I think are in the 40 to 60 range that I wouldn't even laugh if I thought about clicking out. Yeah, it's like,
can we cross off Cam Smith? Guy played golf in like a year, it feels like.
I don't want no parts of him. Definitely don't want him in DFS.
So we're crossing off Cam Smith even though he's plus 24. Yeah, okay.
I think I'm crossing him off based on the price.
He's been one of the more vocal guys over there too. So I think he's brought the spotlight on himself. He's definitely been the most vocal. Wouldn't you say, Andy? About just like he said, he was going to go visit the event, and then he brought all his LIV gear to the Masters, and he brought second pair of clothes in case he couldn't wear the LIV gear. So maybe he's just a fiery kid, but I think he's putting
I've been soft on him too, because like basically they told him, hey, we're going to put some events in Australia. And I didn't want to blame him for that. It's like the only one who actually had I know there was so much money too, but it's like nobody else.
It's like how good you are is how little shit you get. Like DJ, no one cares. Everyone's going to see DJ and be like, there's cool. DJ. Cam gets it because he's a great player, but the worse you are, the more
scrutiny you bear.
Although I think Varner will probably. I think Varner was still well liked enough, and also the press release he put out where he's just like, "Hey, motherfuckers, like I got paid." Like that was the best presser ever.
I just don't think about Varner.
No, I haven't. I used to bet him all the time. He was the guy that constantly made cards for me. I loved him a ton.
Great first round leader guy.
Can I throw out some other cross offs and you tell me if I gotta rethink it? Can I cross off Fitzpatrick in the 40-1 range?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. It's a
okay.
question mark. Question marks.
Can I cross off Tyrrell Hatton in the 55-1 range?
Yeah. Yeah. If you can't ship the Valero or make a showing there, it's not happening.
Okay.
And who knows about that hand injury still? If that might be bugging him a little.
Yeah, you never know. Like it's going to get cold as hell. That might mess with your hand. I don't know. I don't want that.
Can I cross off? In the form and fitness category, can I cross off Hideki in the 40 range?
I bet him.
You did?
It's 50 to 1.
And what was the number?
It was 50 to 1.
That's the number.
This morning. I know he won, and it's not like, he won this 10 years ago. It was not that long ago that he was a top golfer, and he has very much been drugged down by some injuries. And some of those injuries were not that long ago. But
I thought he looked good last week.
He's just the glimmer last week. Plus, like he checks a lot of boxes if he's healthy, including I've won.
I don't put the stock in the match play because that's a grind. Sometimes he was draw. But he showed up with the Valero, and his ball striking is so fucking pure. It's just
if he wouldn't have looked good at Valero,
that's very hot.
50 was one of the longer ones I took.
Okay, so you come full circle to a comment Cal made it earlier. There is a guy near the top of the board who has a pretty meh course history here, and it's Patrick Cantlay. Can I cross him off in the 17 to 1 range?
I bet him. I bet that was an earlier wager. He's like one of the few guys that should be crossed off and moved back in the board, but I think he's actually getting smaller and smaller. Like that tells me a lot about his course is perfect for him. It's gonna click for Cantlay. So I have a Cantlay bet in. It is.
Andy,
It's a
what's your
perfect course
opinion?
for his skill set.
He's good enough to win this. I'd cross him off at that price.
Okay.
You know, it's one of those where, yeah, if you got him in, if your number starts with a 20, you know, it's a lot more palatable. But current prices, I don't have a ton of interest. But he is definitely he's within the list of names that I think can win this.
All right.
Is he on the top 5 of the board?
He's close.
He is.
So it's
yes, he is
5th.
He's 4th.
Who's number 5? JT.
Spieth.
Spiffy, spicy sausage.
That makes sense.
Can't cross him off.
We're considering him in the one and done.
You can never cross Jordan Spieth off. He's uncrossable.
Can I cross off Morikawa at 30-1? His conditions feel like they're going to afford him the opportunity to really flex on his approach game.
Been contentious. He doesn't have the big
feeling about Morikawa this weekend. I like Morikawa.
Okay. Can I cross off J-Day in the 30-1 range?
Yes, gosh.
It's a tough price.
Like those two guys should they really be in the same tier?
No, you avoid him. No, I mean he's playing great.
Too.
He's got a question mark sometimes, right? The weather. I like him, but he should be 50s.
Yeah, it's his best. The best we've seen him play in quite some time. Just this year,
I wouldn't feel comfortable with the top 10.
No, this field he should be closer to 40, 45.
Right. Let's quit beating around the bush and get to the meat of the podcast. Are you ready? There's really 3 guys that I've heard sincerely bantied about as like, this is my horse. This is my horse. 2 of them are the top 2, which isn't a surprise. The third is not Jon Rahm, who people have kind of dismissed based on injury concerns and or just fitness generally. Or, you know, this is the third one is
crazy.
Tony Finau.
So freaking dominant.
Yeah. Let's start with Finau, and then we'll go to Scottie and Rory. But is Finau worthy of the buzz that he has gotten among many of the prognosticators? No?
I don't think so. I mean, the stats are great. Yeah, but I test. I'm seeing like Rory drive the ball at the match play. I'm seeing Scottie ship events or in everything contest he's in. Rahm page, 3 out of 5? It was stupid.
Yeah, it was nasty. Yeah, that was quite a run.
Yeah, and then Rory won. What did he win last? DP or?
Yeah, he won that.
Reed in that. It was Rory versus Reed heads up in a playoff, and it was going to go to a playoff, and Rory drains like an 18-footer. That was sick.
There's been some fun.
I thought they were a little soft on the pairing because I want to see. They like hid the live guys. Like I want to see.
I know.
See him clash, but
Andy, are you on Finau or are you out at this price?
I did bet Finau. I'm fine with the price. It's one of those where the price is where it should be, and I bet it anyway. Like to Cal's point,
Finau's fine. I mean, it's your card. Yeah, I bet you got a good number too.
Yeah, he shouldn't be a sub. I'm not making a case where this guy should be a sub 20 guy. A lot of times when I make a bet, it's like, hey, Matsuyama's 50. That should be 40. It should be 30 if he's healthy. Like I sometimes I'll say like I'm betting this because it's valuable. With Finau, it's just like I think he can win this event, and
he's a good fit. He really is.
The price is probably where it should be at. It was like 25 and change. I didn't even get the best of the number. People had 28s on him, but I was.
I like him better than Xander. I like him better than a lot of people.
I like him better than Xander or Cantlay. So
yeah.
Okay. I would take Cantley's ready.
He wins.
I think.
Okay. Well, people would love to see this turn into Rory versus Rahm, I would imagine, just because of the history of those two in matchups and majors in the last 5 years has been really fun. But
I think Scottie's getting a lot of love.
This is really much more about Rory versus Scottie. And the two cases are pretty fascinating.
That's not fair to Rahm, yeah.
No, for
Scottie,
sure.
I got a pretty good number on Scottie. We got him last year on the podcast.
Oh, yeah? What do you got for Scottie? What do you win if Scottie if he ships
125 to 1?
125
so shop around. That's a good pick. That's a fun one to have.
Honestly,
that is a fun one to hold on to, especially after last year. My guy, I got my 2 guys at like insane prices. It's great.
Was this parlayed with last year's green jacket?
Or what? Parlayed with the players.
The players.
The players. Oh, okay. Well, that was out
no.
of the
it
box.
just got to a point where the
was
clock was
out
hitting.
Of the box. Yeah.
Yeah, I just got tired of seeing the chalk winning. I'm like, I gotta pivot. I gotta think of something to make the outrights fun again. Okay. Oh gosh, he hits that, and you're just staring at a Masters 125-1. It's Scottie's year. That's his track.
I did.
The rain might dampen that, but that's fun.
I don't bet at the top of the board that often. I try to avoid it, even as much as chalk has hit of late. It's been annoying, but I looked at the pricing. I wish I'd have been a little earlier on it, but I did bet twice as much as I normally bet on an outright, and I put it on Scottie just because it's a shorter price. I wanted a bigger stake on it.
Now you guys got me emotionally conflicted because my biggest horse and only real horse, and this is Rory, and I don't have a great reason for it other than the reports we were getting of how well he was playing. And granted,
make this a TikTok, Dan. Rory will never win this event
because of the mental aspect.
I just doesn't have. He's a fucking putz. Just a fucking loser in life.
Andy does not like Rory. Never have, never will.
Never have. Just
he's fine.
I'm gonna carry water for the PGA like a little turd. Dude, you don't even carry water for your country. Like you don't even like take pride in where you're from. Like you're a mushmouth little a-hole. And I don't hate Rory that much. I kind of laid it on there, but I do cheering. He's turned into. He's talked out of two sides of his mouth about this LIV thing for the last 8 months. He's been kind of he got served
summons on Christmas Eve, Andy. Don't you have a heart? My God. Who wants to get summons on Christmas Eve? No, and seriously.
They had to throw Christmas Eve. Yeah.
Andy's obviously team P. Reed.
Team P. Reed.
Yeah, Team P. Reed. I don't really know how I don't have a good reason for going hard on Rory, and I'm happy with my number. I got 10-1, and he's 625 right now on Bookmaker. Which is
I hope he opens his locker when he gets there Thursday. He opens his locker and he looks. There's 4 playing cards face down. He picks them up, all aces, right, Cal? Oh my God! Withdraw at that point. Withdraw.
Okay, so this is not really a strong analysis. I don't have a good reason for backing Rory over Scottie if it was a 2-horse race, but I will tell you that Rory plays his best golf here when not very many people are watching. A lot of his best rounds really when the pressure was way off.
The weather helps you too.
I think that's a factor. Absolutely. Not just his carry and him being able to set himself up well for scoring when maybe other people are scrubbing. Yeah. I think that matters. And I think ultimately the fact that he put in the practice time that he did, as opposed to really grinding his guts up in the elevated events, probably going to mean something. And so, I mean, if we're talking about if there were one set of conditions that really gives us a Rory McIlroy green jacket, I think it's a Monday finish. I think everybody's cooled back or back at work.
He's got
man.
Yeah, he came off a really good match play. He had that fire. Like Rory's, of course, he's live. It's the big 3. That's it.
So when Bryson went nuts and went off the reservation and started doing the I'm gonna get huge.
The memes were so big.
Yeah, just, Rory kind of maybe undercovered a little because Rory didn't start drinking like 18 protein shakes and gained 70 pounds. But Rory followed that close to basically the same path minus the bulk. Like he very much went after club speed and distance off the tee, and it screwed him up. He had this 2-way miss for a bit where he was good, and it was kind of hidden because he's a good enough golfer where he wasn't missing that many tee shots, but when he missed them, some of them were pretty bad, and he made up for it with the rest of his golf. And when he didn't miss tee shots, they were going so far. But he has sorted that out. He's kind of found a nice stasis between accuracy and distance, and he does hit the ball a country mile. He hits it hard, he hits it fast. Not only, you talk about having a long tee shot.
These fairways aren't hard to hit. That's kind of like one of the easiest things to do here. They're like 50 yards across. He has no problem landing that with the. Yeah, he's going to be.
So, and not only that, but cutting through the wind. Yeah, I don't mind him in matchups at all. I just don't. Again, he can't win this event. It's not a thing.
The problem, I think, it's
I just
he's going to be popular in DFS. He's going to be hard to use in DFS. I'll tell you what, the top ownership and the top big 3, and with the big 3, I think he'd be top ownership.
agree or disagree with this take. Rory has, and I want only Cal's opinion. Andy, I know your opinion. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter which way, but which is more likely to produce a win, coming from behind on the fourth round, or leading going into the 10th hole, where he had the, of course, ignominious drive it into a house that no one knew was there.
Be a front runner.
He's got to be the front runner. You don't think he's coming from behind on round
he's
4?
Got to be up. He's got to be in front.
Okay. The pressure of being in front.
Backdoor T5, or a good looking solo second. I really think when he gets the confidence, he's up, like he just steps on your throat. I think. Yeah. Oh, he was he up early last year?
No, he was the backdoor solo second last year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He had a great
that's right. Him and Morikawa off in the sand. Yeah.
Non-consequential Sunday rounds, and again, he's good. He's good enough to be the best golfer in the field. I just don't know if he has the mentals.
Yeah.
There's been a couple good tweets.
Okay. Final prediction. Winner and score. Prediction. Winner and score. Cal, and then we'll do some fun stuff.
Score minus with the weather. I'm gonna say -9, and the cut would be +5.
Cut +5, winner -9, and it's Scottie.
I think it's going to be Scottie.
Okay, Andy.
Also Scottie, but not Scottie Scheffler. This year's Scottie, Max Homa, who's again. I know maybe not. The course fit is like, oh shit, this guy's really good at golf.
It's crazy,
and he's winning multiple events. He is another one. I
chips hard tournaments.
It's like, oh, you're gonna have a guy that should be again down probably near the Xander and Patrick range. You're gonna give me a big fat price on him? Like, I'll take it. Oh, we're not on the West Coast.
I got a 35.
Like,
the
30, 33 and a change, 34, something like that. I ended up with. So Max Homa,
I would take any 30. I would take anything in the 30s on him.
Max Homa 19 under runaway wins by 8.
Whoa!
I don't think this course is too hard for him.
Okay.
You think, but
you think realistically
12.
Okay.
Andy, how do you feel the card when you start with Scottie? Or Drew? Like how are you building your card? Because I was kind of fortunate.
I went light with it. Like I just said, I'm not going to add much because I'm not going deep down the board. Mm-hmm. I'm going to pick a few guys that I think these guys I think that can win in Finau and Max Homa. And then I said, I'm going to look for value.
Mm-hmm.
And I think I found a little that. And so I started with a bigger bet on Scottie, and then some smaller bets on Finau, Max, and then added Matsuyama there as well. But I think a lot of my exposure this week will be some top 20 stuff, because there's a ton of guys that it's just like, fuck, I love this guy here. I love this guy generally. It's like, I can't bet you to win this event, sir. And I don't, and that's where I think you can do some good work with top 20s here. I'm going to have a little more of that exposure than I normally would. Obviously, I'm going to be playing.
What's your normal card look like? Like how many names do you usually play?
It's 3 to 6. I mean, I don't go too big usually. Sometimes if it's
if you did 6, then with Scottie, you'd have to go like 3 or 4.
Yeah. I don't think I'll have any more. I have 4 right now with Scottie, and that's probably it.
Yeah, nothing's going to change, really.
And I mean, I can't count JT at 74.
Strategy is simpler.
I'm going to.
My strategy is much simpler. I just read all of the notes in our chat, and when somebody has a good info one, like Rory's destroying Augusta in practice, and it's a month away, I just bet Rory and then wait for the tournament to start. And then as the tournament's going, I just see who you bet on that you're sure is alive, and I add a little live, and then I have maybe a couple
live betting.
But I'm not putting a 6-player card together for golf outright. It's like I just don't put the time in at all myself. So
12.
No, and it's such a good event. I spoke about this with Noonan this morning. I said it's such a good event to have some fun with other stuff, because there's always a big. It's like I compared it to the Super Bowl. Obviously, nothing will ever be the Super Bowl with that size menu, but like I have made bets in the past on. I've bet will Spieth put a ball in the water on 12. during this event. I've bet one of them will Bryson drive the green on 3 on what like there's so many just fun prop bets, and the hole-in-one price is ridiculous at this point. But there's some like specific hole-in-one props, like Sunday 16. Do we get one
minus 240?
Yeah, it's 230 is the best price I've found. I haven't shopped a lot, but I feel like I need to go find my old cards. I feel like I used to bet hole-in-one yes at like minus 150.
Of course. Absolutely. Auto. 6. Yeah, auto. Yeah. There was some really fun make the cut parlays. Because it's basically it's so hard to miss the cut here. You really have to fuck up. you really have to bugger it. And it was all minus EV stuff you're playing, but it was still fun as hell to cheer for like 18 guys all to make the cut, and the 18th guy is on the number. I'm gonna
throw a live parlay of miscuts, Brooks and some of those other bums. Yeah. I'm just gonna bet Brooks missed the cut out of spite from that number and just is smug ass. I don't know.
Bryson Brooks miscut parlay is kind of fun.
Oh gosh, yeah.
Rory minus 1500 is one of my favorite looks.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. There's some good questions and some good fun stuff in the chat. So by all means, jump in and ask anything else you want. John Bailey.
I thought this was a baseball question. I thought we were betting K props.
Zach Gallen came through on his under K prop today. I'm sure you guys saw. It was not a close call. For Cal. Is there a guy under 75K on DFS who really fits your criteria?
There's a few names. I think it's gonna be Keith Mitchell, who I pulled the trigger on. It's 7,100. He can help out your budget. He can bomb it. He hits it straight. He knows what's his history like here. Sure, he's played here. He knows the place. Yeah, he's a good one. I kind of still like Mito. He fits the bill. Neiman, that's kind of your live territory for DFS. I'm not sure how the public's going to act towards them, but I'm seeing them like flat 10%, like pretty much all of them.
Mito answer Keegan is kind of where I'm at for some of those guys. Around the
answer. Another live guys. They're coming up a little bit.
Answer's skill set matches up pretty well, and like he's fairly cheap. What
about Tiger? Price? Like I think last year we spoke about it was really just making the cut. I still think you can make it.
It's fun that his
makes the cut. Yes,
much different.
Yeah, like. I mean, he's going to be sub 10%.
Andy's out.
I'm not going to play it. I'm just like, you want suggestions? You need a 6 of 6, and he can't show up and get minus 4 or 5. He's sub 10%.
6 of 6. That's where you lost me.
I'm not.
6 of 6 is you're talking legacy DFS. I'm a Rainmaker man.
I pulled one today.
I'm a 5 of 5 kind of guy.
John with the key question: is Rory a mutter? His mutter was a mutter. I do not know if Rory is a mutter. But I don't know if you guys looked at any horse racing stuff going on, but we got a weird Kentucky Derby on tap this year. We have we could have one of the shortest favorites we've ever seen in a 20-horse field. It's going to be fascinating. Wow. But no, do you have an opinion on Rory being a mutter?
I mean, I always kind of in my brain that Euro guys are great in rain and wind.
Strokes game mudding
Ireland is being windy.
He's top 10.
Strokes. Okay. I like that.
Okay. Can Spieth win back-to-back Easter Sundays? I didn't realize that the last time we had Masters on Easter, it was Spieth. But I can pretty much tell you we already answered this question because the winner is not going to be on Easter Sunday. It'll be whatever the day after that is.
Easter.
Yeah, no, that's funny that we won't even have it as I'm sending the kids away. But no, it was actually. I believe they're referring to the RBC Heritage. So last Easter was last Easter Sunday was the final of the RBC Heritage. So he won last year on Easter.
Oh, he's an Easter guy. I see.
Yeah. And Sean, and 2021, I'd forgotten.
Oh man, he's just an absolute kick-ass.
It was Valero.
He's got it in his blood.
Something about
that's wild.
I don't know why they would say that. That's kind of a bummer for me personally. Family, kids, and stuff. But
yeah, no. Well, so part 2 to that question, Cal. Someone who's a social person and likes to have a little fun. How do you weave Masters watching into a weekend? And we're probably not going to get golf on Saturday. We might not get some on Friday. Like, do you double down on Good Friday with the kids so that you can really kind of sink into it Sunday, Monday?
Yeah, you have to just. If there's a break, you have to allocate your time, but they know going in it's important. I mean, it's one of the best watches. Some of the best napping, pure like REM sleep.
When you say double down on Good Friday with the kids, I guess I'd love to hear, Drew, your favorite childhood memories with your parents of Good Friday events.
I can tell you my least favorite memory. I have a least favorite memory for Good Friday. We did a 2-week trip in Australia as young adults, and the trip ended in Sydney Easter weekend. And I'll tell you what, the Aussies take their Easter very fucking seriously. And it was literally Friday night, end of the trip. We wanted to go freaking tear it up and sit in Sydney, Australia, and everything was closed. It was literally every freaking bar was literally like, "Yep, last pour, 8:00, go home. It's Good Friday." And it's like, Friday. What is happening here? So I don't know if the rules have softened. If it, the new administration in Australia is relaxing the Good Friday, the liquor laws,
Good Friday lockdown.
Yeah, no one wants to spend the end of a 2-week trip in your hotel room drinking airplane bottles. Like that's not how you draw it up.
Already making me feel like shit.
Got all dressed up and nowhere to go. Literally,
nowhere to go.
I told the wife I had to work this weekend.
We did.
It's the Masters.
Yeah, we did it extra hard on Saturday. And thankfully, no one was hurt, so it was good.
I'm bacheloring it up this
weekend. Heard that. You got to place yourself, just farting it up, watching the Masters.
Oh God, just nice. farting in the easy chair. Probably it's starting to warm up here, Cal. The snow's gone. I'll probably fire up one of the grills. Just cook myself something. I love cooking and grilling something and not letting anyone else have any of it. Probably not a good opportunity for a
steak, like on a big ass grill, just like one wing steak. Like
I go to my butcher, just one of those really good prime New Yorks. Just one. Yep, just for me.
Okay.
So I'm holding like one potato.
Okay.
Just cook it for Andy.
One potato. Yeah.
Yes. Okay. A couple other key questions for you since we got you. I'll let the audience populate more if they want to. But is it possible for Scottie to go back to back and the Astros to go back to back in the same year?
That makes a lot of sense. I mean, winners win.
A lot of it checks
winners
out.
win. It makes a lot of sense.
Interesting.
Are you saying Scottie cheated?
Favorites? I mean, they're favored for a reason.
I think he's saying Scottie cheated, and I don't like the implications. Calhoun, can we get a review of the new horseshoe in Lake Charles? Past it this weekend. I'm also interested as one of the conference tournaments is apparently going to be in Lake Charles for the next 5 years. And
really?
I was talking about like, hey, I should go out to a conference tournament here or there. It's like the Southland. It was the one that was in, I believe it used to be in Katy, and they moved over to Lake Charles, kind of your neck of the way. So
yeah, I can't remember the name of that.
Anyway, give the review. Did you go to the Nugget or the horseshoe?
Yeah, I've been in the horseshoe yet. I'm kind of loyal to one place. I've earned my my credits there. I'm not going to betray those. I need those comps.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, the Gold Nugget's still my spot.
Okay.
I'll slip in there and check it out soon.
Yeah. So now, if you're loyal to a specific casino and player rewards, do you take it easy on them and then you go to the horseshoe and you just bleed them dry and get backed off, and then you go back to your spot and you just sit there for a couple more hours?
Yeah, it's the life we lead, right? Just hustling, riverboating them, taking all the service money.
Fair enough. So the The NFL draft's coming up. Not sure if you've heard, but one of our friends does podcast with Andy talking all about it.
I have.
True or false? Yeah. Quarterback hand size is the most important predictive factor for success in the NFL.
It's fact. It is absolute fact. You got to be able to hold the rock. You got to be able to sling it, spin it. Little baby hands it's a liability. Can't have it. Won't.
Do you have an opinion on what the Texans should do with the number 2 pick? You want them to go with the pass rusher Wilson?
No. Are you even a Texans fan, dude? How can you be?
I'd be hard for me to name like 5 players. I don't watch the Texans.
Yeah, that's rough. Just take a quarterback.
Like, guys. I don't know what would you do? I mean, take second helping a quarterback, or do you trade down from the 2?
I'd move the team to Tennessee again.
No. I do miss the Oilers. Oh man!
JetBlue Amigo. Link Calhoun is a DFS superstar. I thought that was broadly known. You're Tyler Durden picture, who's taking all your money, and DraftKings is the way I reckon.
I'm pretty good.
You were in the golf, the DraftKings Golf World Championships last year. You didn't win.
That's true.
I mean, it's like every time you know
someone. I made the second round. I had 2 tickets. Made the second round.
You did move up. You almost made it to Memphis.
Yeah, I need to adapt to a smaller field, like a 300, it's like a poker tournament. You go in and see 300 people, or you go into one of those big contests and you see the city of Cincinnati, like 300,000 people. Like, it's hard to change your strategies.
Yeah, I think you learned something last year. I'm cheering for you this year. Holt says relative to the market, 3 fades.
I had a good start to the year with 3 scores.
It's like 6 names. That's like 10% of the field hold.
Is that
Joaquin Neiman is definitely a play on from what we've talked about. His number is 80 plus 8250 for some reason. I can't really put my finger on why that would be.
I think with the weather, Hovland, I'm still just staring at his name. I'm probably not going to do it, but Hovland.
He was a guy that I almost bet this morning. I just needed Noonan to push me. He didn't push me enough to bet him. I said I'm more than likely going to have a Hopland top 10, top 20, something along those lines. And I want to back him in some way, shape, or form. I just won't bet him to win now.
In perfect conditions, I wouldn't probably cut them because of the around the green stuff so sloppy. I've heard he has a better record of majors around the green, but you need it. And if it's off a little bit with him, it is bad. But with the weather, I kind of give them a bump up.
Ooh, I like that. That's a good angle.
But also with the weather, they're probably going to be missing the greens a lot because they're hard to hit. So around the green might actually come in more factor if the weather's really shitty.
I've always kind of assumed that Augusta wasn't a place that really penalizes you for bad around the greens generally, because I feel like the greens they're big-ish. It's much more like where you land on the green that matters for like how hard your putt is, right? Yeah. And I feel like in blustery conditions, like you're going to take the safe shot anyway, right? So I think you'll probably see a little less aggressiveness on approach across the entire field, and a more willingness just to take.
It'll probably be harder to hit, I'd imagine.
Yeah. That too.
It'd be harder. The greens they're hard to hit here.
Yeah, but so I think you err on the safer side of the green as opposed to putting yourself in trouble.
Okay,
just on the putting green. It would be for House.
Yeah, they're roughly the 15th biggest out of like the 45 or so that you have on tour. So not massive, but on the bigger side of average.
Most difficult.
They run pretty quick for the most part. We'll see how that adjusts with, like, it's going to rain and rain and rain. Like these guys have so much drainage. Like they have
their tech is that strong.
Importer
they can just take out the water.
Yeah, they can just it's like disappears.
Good. Wow. Yeah.
I mean, a lot of places we put sub air in the greens. It's like Augusta's like, yeah, we put it in like all the fairways too. Like they have it in all the the landing areas and shit. Yeah, they have so much drainage. It's just ridiculous how much money they spend on this goddamn essentially this event for the most part. Although they did have anybody who takes in all of the all the fun stuff has been probably watching it's like the punt pass and kick thing. but they have it for kids. The drive, chip, and putt thing, that was fun. The women's amateur is usually a fun little event. That was, oh my God, Rose Zhang just ripped the field a new one on that. The par 3 tournament. Hopefully the weather holds out and we can have that. Like, it's just really fun 2 weeks down there, and they spend an obscene amount of money to keep it looking nice. That's why they were like mad when somebody suggested having it in the summer when it was canceled in 2020, and like, fuck you. This place looks in the summer. It's spring or not, so it's still kind of odd having it late. Hopefully we never do that again. I'm not worried about the greens playing crazy slow with the water.
Okay.
Like Drew said, I think it's not so much maybe the weather. It might be the wind, which I guess is weather. But it leads you to some of these spots where it's like, hey, I still can hit the piss out of the ball. I have a shorter tee shot, or approach shot into the green, but I'm not going to be hitting it so high.
Yeah,
I can't.
And they don't stop a tournament for wind. Like,
yeah.
For sure.
Not often.
It could be windy as hell, and you have to play in it. But as soon as you see one lightning strike, it's to the house. So if it's windy, you're just everyone's gonna have to deal with it. The waves aren't. The rotations are there. They're gonna take breaks. Everyone's gonna have to just deal with it. Like, the weather should not go into your handicapping. I don't believe so. I mean, it probably bumps a few guys up. I don't think can't cross someone out because it's gonna be a shitty day. But some guys can just, you can drive it through the wind and drive it through some raindrops. Yeah, I'm looking at you for sure.
Yeah.
Big hitters.
Yeah. Okay. Food tradition unlike any other in your household, Andy?
So a couple of years ago, I made pimento cheese. I found like a legit recipe. Said this is exactly the copycat recipe. I had one sandwich and I ate it, and then I put the rest of it in the fridge and threw it out in 2 weeks. Like, it's not good. Like,
grilled cheeses, try grilled cheese with the next
pimento
time.
cheese is fine. Like, it was good. I wasn't like force feeding myself this cheese sandwich after the first bite. It was okay. I would never go find it somewhere.
Right, the best in town.
$1.
No, did you get that email where they'll mail you some sandwiches and some tableware and some
it's like $400. You get a bunch of plastic cups and it's like 1 pound of pulled pork, 1 pound of coleslaw. It's like, buddy, I got coleslaw in IV.
Thanks, Masters.com. I'm good.
What is I do believe, and like I said, it's just going to be me, so I'm not going to want to do a full flat brisket. I'm not going to want to do a big Boston butt.
Yeah.
Like, hey, it's just me. I made 13 pounds of pulled pork, though.
Yeah, that's like a punishment.
Sounds tasty, yeah.
How good do burnt ends sound right now?
Yeah,
Jesus Christ, on a bicycle.
Yeah. And a nice nap, like the birds chirping. Yeah, it's going to be good.
I think I may smoke some wings.
Can't wait.
Smoked wings.
Ooh. Smoked wings are one of my favorites, especially so it actually involves 2 grills, because you get the Traeger and you slowly smoke them. You get them like 75% there.
The flavor, juicy.
And then I have the charcoal Weber, and I have that thing hot as shit. And I just throw them on there for a little to like crisp up the outsides, render some of that fat inside.
That char marks. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Any food traditions for you, Cal?
Negative. Just ordering DoorDash.
Okay.
Ordering some Whataburger.
Yes. Order DoorDash, Georgia Peach ice cream sandwiches. Okay. All right. Well, let's wrap it up. That was super fun. Best of luck to Scottie for your 125 to 1, Cal. And best of luck to I know, I'm kind of cheering for you there too. If it ends up Scottie versus Rory down the stretch and it's financially beneficial for me for Rory to win, and I'll be a good sport and cheer on. I
might put a roll on too. I mean, I can hedge off that pretty nicely.
Okay,
let's go, Scottie.
All right, good deal. Clear calendar. Maybe the best recommendation I can give you: don't put any meetings on your calendar Monday. Don't do it.
No, there can't.
Postpone them. Postpone them all for postpone them all for Tuesday. Yeah. Yeah, you do not want to step away from the television for the final round of the Masters on a Monday to take a work call. So
it's a wash. Yeah.
No. All right.
Make the best of it.
Oh,
Yeah.
I do have a thing I should promo. Otherwise, I'll get.
Oh yeah, do it. Promo it. Is it a contest that I can enter?
There's a condo. Yeah, I can't even win it. Apparently, I found out, but
I feel like Cal can't either because he's disqualified, or not disqualified, but he won. He's already won one, right?
Cal won the last
win. You can't
contest.
win.
Yeah.
Once you win, it's the opposite. It's the opposite of the Masters. Whereas once you win, you can never enter again. As opposed to you can always play.
Maybe I'll win this one, and then me and Cal do a jersey swap. But yes. Miss Sporanic will be hosting another couple lucky winners out east at a top private course in the tri-state area. Fly your ass out there, round trip, even fly you home after it's all done. Put you up in a hotel, feed you, and get you out for 18 holes with Paige. All you have to do is, play the game. What is it? It's on Run Your Pool. I'll have the link in the show notes. I'll have it in the podcast notes as well.
How many people? How many people we talking about?
Yeah, it's
crazy easy.
Yeah, you just pick 6 guys. Well, and it's so random too. It's like, hey, here's the top 8, 10 golfers. Pick one. Here's the next 10. So it's you can get kind of goofy with it if you want, but for the most part, especially when you get to those bottom tiers, you're throwing some darts. Here's what I got. Listen, I just avoided
pretty strong.
I avoided the big 3.
Dreadful.
Wow.
I avoided. I went. It is a big contest with there's like 10, 15,000 people in it. You can't just pick Scottie, Rory, and you got to get weird with it a little. So
JT was a weird. Defend yourself. JT playing with any kind of confidence to win the Masters.
He checks.
No, it's just the lowest pick guys. It's game theory.
Yeah, he's
game
going to be
theorying. Okay.
Yeah, he's going to be very lowly picked.
I think
Rose might be
take the top. The chalk.
Yeah, Homa might be a little chalkier in his section, but Answer and Gooch and Varner are probably lesser owned as well in their section. So those are the 6 guys I went with. And again, it doesn't matter. I can't win. my wife entered last night. I should.
He's the chaperone. Yeah.
I can't remember what she said. It was pretty funny though.
Do you get to bring a friend for a foursome or something?
No, we'll actually have 2 winners so that Paige is entered. If you go look, she has her 6.
Does she pick a playing partner? And if
you beat her, like whatever she gets in the contest, all the people that are able to beat her score will draw 2 random winners out of that. So you got to beat Paige. And then we'll pick some randos out of there. So if she finishes first, nobody's going golfing, guys. Sorry. I don't think that's true. I think we'd throw everybody.
Is it a golfing? Is it a threesome for golf or is it a foursome?
It'll be a foursome.
Who's the 4th? Is this like you? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
The chaperone.
I have to go with as a CEO. I better chaperone this event.
Like, big time networking opportunity. Yeah.
So he did. He went with in the last one where they played up at Geneva National in Wisconsin, and he is just like, he was texting me. He's like, it's unbelievable how good she is at golf. Like this is, because it's probably the best golfer he's ever played with.
Probably,
like 30
she's
strokes.
just like she's it's not it wasn't an easy course. It was still a tougher course, and she's just fucking putting everything right on the pin. Just like it's like it's just embarrassing how badly we're getting beat here.
No, I know. I'm interested, Dan, because like I respect her interest in playing these types of pools, running this pool. But if she just brings a friend and hangs out with a friend the whole time, and you just got to play with the random contest winner, that's a little different.
It's like that's the story. Anyone who's been to a PGA event early in the week, you see the pro-am they have before.
Yeah.
Like a lot of the people in the pro-am have just paid like, hey, I paid $18,000 to play with, Tony Finau for 9 holes here.
Of course.
And I followed Larry Legend around for a bit, and it was the same, just what you described. Like Larry Fitzpatrick was playing with Stuart Sink. And then there was just some random guys that had been paid to they paid money to play in this, and Stuart Sink was not even talking to those guys. Between every shot Larry took, he was giving him pointers. When the other guys were teeing off, he had Larry well back behind the tee box, like giving him advice and stuff. Like he just wanted Larry to get better at golf.
Larry's good.
So they paid into the program just for the photo of them all standing in front of their bags.
I mean, I wasn't there the whole time, but it was funny. It's like these poor guys they're not getting any love from Stewie, and Larry's back there getting private lessons. Larry has a pretty fucking cool bag though. It's like a customized pit bag with the cool colors. Like, he does like
he's a cool guy.
I love it, man. All right, well, let's wrap here. Dan, you can hit the music. Best of luck. Enjoy the Masters. Win some money and enjoy some of your favorite traditions around the Masters. So we'll talk to you next week when we cover some football.
Yeah,
sure.
Unmute your mic, Cal.